The point I'm really trying to drive home is, look, if you've seen all of the episodes of Game of Thrones, if you've watched all 8 seasons, you've roughly spent about 80 hours of your life, which is like 3 days, of your life, your entire life, 3 days watching Game of Thrones. It's justifiable to be upset about the ending. What's not justifiable is being so upset about the ending that it affects you in some sort of way. And what I mean by that is this. Nothing that had happened in that last episode was, no matter what show it is, was going to be so ground-changing and groundbreaking and so different and so amazing that it was going to change the lives of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. You knew where it was going based off of the previous episodes that you had seen. And not only that, but I think the point that I'm really trying to drive home with the viewers at home here is, every time that it's something that's not really talked about, but I think it's definitely something that needs to be said. Every time that you decide to pick up a new show, you are committing a specific amount of time of your life to this media and entertainment. Make sure that it is something productive and wise. Don't waste your time watching trash, number one. Number two, if you're going to watch something like Game of Thrones, which, by the way, has a theme of unsettling and uncomfortable situations, like a bunch of deaths and children dying and rape and things like that. If you're going to watch a show like that, you have to set the expectations that you're going to get disappointed plenty of times in that show. That could include the ending. So it's not super just. You can get upset and angry about it for a week, but if you're really going to get so upset where you're going to start making petitions and it's going to be that much ingrained into your life, you need to relook at your priorities and what you are considering important.
Looking into the hearts of some of the really good characters in the show that you kind of knew were good from the beginning or became good, that you can look and kind of relate to those characters in a way and be like, wow, here's someone living in this world of chaos and hell that made a difference. You were saying getting your hopes too high. That's essentially what a lot of people did, and that's probably why they're so angry about this. Is because their hopes were.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not angry about the show in any way. I'm actually, even though I gave it a 4 out of 10, I'm actually quite satisfied because I gave up on the show halfway through the season. My point, I'm actually upset about the fact of all this controversy that people won't stop talking about this stupid show.
You say you gave up on the show, yet you continue to watch it, though.
It's over.
No,
I gave up on the show after episode 3. There were 3 episodes left. I'm gonna finish it. I already invested 70 hours into it. What's another 5 at that point? Had I known that it was gonna end like this, I wouldn't watch it at all. Had I known the whole entirety of the thing, I wouldn't watch it at all. And my point is that the reason why I say that is because I took nothing away from Game of Thrones. Okay. Nothing.
Can I just say a few things?
Yeah.
First of all, to Dan's point with Jon Snow. I think you're oversimplifying it and you're being a little too literal with it. What he's getting at, and what he's getting at with true for any fictional medium, because first of all, it's ultimately, I think it's very tricky to look at a fictional medium and say, objectively, you can draw no wisdom from this. Objectively, you can draw no knowledge to better yourself from this. At the end of the day, everybody's going to take from it what they take from it.
True.
All right, so secondly, I think Dan's more getting at the principles of the thing. So, and yes, there is no wall you could go to, but it's the principle of choosing a path to yourself that is hard, that people tell you not to go down, and that seems to be the best one available for you to live a life. And now you could say that that's really over expanding it, making it too general, but that's the principle of the thing. So and that's true for any story. For anything.
100%. I agree with you, and I understand that. Okay.
I think what you just said there, Rich, makes me feel better about the ending of this show. That's
great. So Rich, I completely agree with everything that you just said, and I'm not insinuating that. Let me back up here and let me cover these points of what I'm trying to get at. Every single piece of fiction that is popularized because it has those important themes and values that you can reflect within the media that you're watching, and you can take something away from it. I do agree Game of Thrones has those. What I'm saying is it's a very long show, and it's a big commitment, and you can get those exact same values in better, more articulated, and thought-provoking ways from different sources of media, and we know that now that the show has finished. In other words, what I'm saying is, Pretty much all I'm trying to drag across is I'm not saying Game of Thrones had no important messages or anything, because what you just said, I think I completely agree with 100%. That probably is the most important message of Game of Thrones. It's challenging the framework of what most people have expectations on, and
of telling a story.
Right, period. Of telling a story. Period. I completely agree with that. My point is, as good as it does that, the other things that you could possibly take away from the show, like the discipline of Jon Snow, which is what I think you were kind of hinting at, and the fact that he is a disciplined character and you can take that away. Or it could be the wits of Tyrion Lannister, or it could be the strength of Brienne of Tarth, or whatever. Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. There are better forms of entertainment, books, media, shows, etc. Well, yes to me. But also, the point this is the other thing I'm trying to kind of drive home here. This is the point I'm really trying to drive home. Not only is it to me, but it is just, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Factual, in the sense of there is far more things that you could be spending your time on, and we know that now that the show has ended. There are better things you could be spending your time on than Game of Thrones. Now, could somebody know that before the entirety of the show had been released? Absolutely not.
Well,
absolutely not.
How do you...
Yeah.
I get partially where you're coming from one part of it, and like, please let me know if I'm messing up what you're thinking or where you're coming from.
Sure.
But it seems to me that there's I don't want to say frustration. You seem confused as to why somebody, when they have the option of this one form of entertainment that's specifically designed for entertainment, and that's its shtick. And you're not saying that you can't draw anything of value from that, but why would you choose to spend your time and effort trying to draw value from that when you could spend your time and your effort and your time and your effort drawing value from something else that has an objectively better or more powerful or thought-provoking series of values. And my thing is, things resonate differently with different people.
Yeah.
So you could find, I don't know, I'm just gonna pick like a really obvious example. If you want to teach somebody about general morals, I would argue that something like, I don't know, depending on your background or whatever, something like the Bible, you could say would be a more thought-provoking, more hashed out, well-written, thought-through piece of literature designed to teach you about and expand on certain moral values.
Right.
And that would be objectively higher than, say, like, I'm just going to use Game of Thrones as an example of Game of Thrones. Sure. But that doesn't mean that every single person will be able to pick up the Bible and have the good values resonate with them from that book as they would from Game of Thrones in the same way. And that doesn't mean that they're stupid or that they're not as well read or they don't understand things. It's just things resonate differently with certain people. When you read, it's all about every word, every quote, every period, every sentence, everything in every book arranges and goes into people's brains and resonates in certain parts of them in a different way for every single person.
Yep.
Like a disgusting kaleidoscope of possibilities. So it just seems strange to me to say that this source of values, not just to me, but to everybody, will objectively give you these values better than this form of media.
Okay, so you made a lot of good points. So I actually disagree with that, and what you just said, putting the Bible stacked against Game of Thrones. And I know that's not a good example. No. It's actually a fine example because I want to use it as what I'm kind of referring to. You are 100% right when you say everybody takes things differently from different forms of media and entertainment and anything, any form of wisdom.
Fucking lawnmowers, man.
Kill them.
Just fuck them.
That's a weed whacker.
If we took, this is the point I'm trying to make. If we took a large group of people and we were to give them something like the Bible or the Torah or whatever, I don't know, something that had far more concrete wisdom and enlightening material, and we gave that to a specific amount of people, and then we had them watch, Game of Thrones or read the books or whatever. The point I'm getting at is more people would take away from the Bible or whatever that positive form of entertainment is than they would from Game of Thrones. Does that mean everybody? Absolutely not. Everybody's different. But I'd be willing... But I'd be willing to speculate that more people would take positive messages from the Bible in comparison to Game of Thrones. And I'd also be willing to bet that it would take probably roughly about the same amount of time to read through the entirety of the Bible than it would to watch the entirety of Game of Thrones. Probably roughly about 80 hours or something like that. It's a long time. But you would gain more wisdom and knowledge from doing something like that, even if it's harder. But that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not confused. You actually, I would say you're 99% correct when you said you think that I'm confused as to why people would want to watch Game of Thrones over something else that's more enlightening. Confused is not the right word. You were right the first time. I'm frustrated.
Okay.
And the reason I'm frustrated is because having the opinion that you could watch the entirety of Game of Thrones, I'll even say before it ended, before we knew the ending, having the opinion that you could watch the entirety of Game of Thrones and get a similar or the same amount or the same quality of wisdom and knowledge from something compared to like the Bible or the Emerald Tablets or something that is actually enlightening, like wisdom infused material, is the same exact reason why we have so many issues. I'm not confused at all why Game of Thrones was popular. It had cursing, sex scenes, death. It had a lot of sentimentality. It was, the whole thing was orchestrated from the very beginning to be something that gripped at your heart and just but at the end of the day, it's more entertaining than anything else. And in my humble opinion, you can disagree, you can disagree, you can disagree. If you're watching something purely for entertainment value, you are missing out on a lot of other opportunities in life. And more importantly, if you're going to spend that much time on entertaining media like that, and you're going to get so negatively upset because it didn't end the way that you wanted to, it is entertainment. It is not something like a religion or a spirituality or factual in any way. The only thing that you can take away from that, the only thing, is emotion. And that's fine. You can totally take away that emotion. Okay. What else could you take away from Game of Thrones? How to handle certain situations? You really can't. They f*** up everything in that show. Okay. There's not enough practical wisdom in the show. That's the point I'm getting at.
It's so people tend to watch shows, Game of Thrones, whatever. They go into it to escape. It's a way to live vicariously and escape your reality for a particular amount of time. Decompress. Relieve your stress, get invested into this, and find, not meaning, but a release for yourself, and put your problems. I can't pay the rent. I can watch this for the meantime until I can work.
And see, Tyler, I love what you said, and I don't want to cut you off. That is exactly the issue I'm talking about. That's the problem. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch a fictional universe where dragons burn down a city because I can't pay my rent and I'm too stressed to handle the other thing and I want to escape. Everybody in this room can disagree with me. That's fine. We got two people who have film majors.
I'm disagreeing with your specific example that you're working on.
I see both sides here, and I think it's definitely both.
You have times in your life where you watch something for entertainment. I know you do.
Yes,
there's right. Nothing wrong with that.
But this is where I'm saying we're very close to being very similar. And I apologize if I've come off this way. But the one thing I need to critique is the way I feel about people watching entertainment all the time is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying every time that you watch media, it's a waste of time. That's not what I'm saying.
Good. Specify.
I'm specifying that what Tyler said, that mentality of I'm going to watch this media so that I can escape the problems that I have in my life, has overcome such a large opinion of people where it's okay to spend more time than they should on the escapist material in the media and the entertainment industry. That's the point I'm getting across. They are justifying spending too much time on the media. There's nothing wrong with watching anything I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. I'm going to watch it, but the difference is I know that it's just a TV show. I'll watch it for 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes a week, and that's it. I don't go beyond that. There are people who sit and they binge watch Game of Thrones. The point I'm getting at is that's unhealthy. If you have enough time to say, I have all of these problems in my life, but I'm going to choose to binge watch Game of Thrones because I can't help my situation, generation. I can't help that I don't have money for rent, or I really am so engrossed and invested in what Daenerys is going to do with King's Landing. What I'm saying is that's where it starts to become unhealthy, and I don't think people understand where that line can be drawn today, and that's why there are so many problems with the younger generation.
Could I just make a suggestion?
Yes.
Just because.
But does that make sense?
Yes. Maybe
Okay.
it's just me, but the way you were talking about it before was not that specific.
Okay.
So it gave me the impression
Well, we
that you were talking
getting
about,
there. We were getting there. It's a conversation.
No, but
we
I
were
mean,
getting there.
I just maybe you should start with the specifics.
Okay.
Like that's like because that seems
That's
to me
fair.
that you don't have so much a problem with the actual physical thing
I
of
have no
the,
problem
of
with
the
the media.
entertainment.
No.
It's you have a problem with people misusing the entertainment.
That's what I'm talking
So I feel like
about.
maybe that's a better angle to start from.
Yes, okay.
Because I think that would better underline and emphasize your point.
Fair point.
It's just what I'm
I
getting at.
apologize for not being able to.
No,
get my
I
point
assume
across
that you're not
properly.
sitting here saying, everybody, anytime you sit down in front of TV and watch a TV show, you're a piece of garbage.
Well,
because we sit
no.
down in front of TVs and watch TV
All
shows
the time.
But what you're getting at is, if you sit there and just watch TV and watch TV, and you look at your phone and you're like, well, I got homework and I got work tomorrow to get ready for, and I got all this other stuff. But back to the TV show.
Right.
It's like that's the problem.
To
The
both
problem is
your
the TV show.
yeah.
The problem is you.
To both your points, I think people need to look internally more and ask themselves, what am I doing in this moment, and how is that going to pay off?
Mm-hmm.
What could I be doing better in this moment that I can sacrifice kind of for my future in a positive
Right,
way?
and that's exactly what I'm referring to. Final point on this, so that we can kind of end this episode. What I'm ultimately saying is, people these days have put so much faith and emphasis into the entertainment that they watch that they are ruining the priorities of their life. Listen to me, all of you at home. If you have children to feed, if you have money and rent to pay, if you have jobs that you need to get, if you have work that needs to be done, if you have homework that needs to be done, if you have stuff going on in your life, watching a television show should be the last priority for you. It should be. And for so many people to put such an emphasis on the entertainment and the media, it's unhealthy. Get your priorities in straight. Daenerys doesn't matter. Jon doesn't matter. Tyrion doesn't matter. The writers definitely don't matter. And at the end of the day, you can only control so many factors in your life, but one of them is what you watch. And if you're gonna watch like Desperate Housewives and like dramatic Kardashian crap all the time, guess what? You're gonna be just as unhappy as they appear on that TV show. Okay, so it creates a habit. You need to surround yourself with productive things. That doesn't.
I want to talk about you are what you eat.
Yeah.
You are what you watch.
Right, exactly. And they're making great points. It's not that media is bad. It's your use of the media. You have the power to watch that show. If you have all these troubles in your life, sorry, sweetheart, but Daenerys Targaryen's not going to take away the fact that you owe 3 months' rent. Okay? Like, that's the point I'm trying to make. Get your shit together, live your life, and don't try to live your life vicariously all the time through characters on the big screen. That's not you. You're never going to be Jon Snow. You're never going to be Daenerys. Well, unless you're Rich's sister. You're never going to be as smart or as powerful or rich as Tyrion Lannister or any of the... It's not going to happen. You can take away as much as you want from it, but at the end of the day, you're much better off picking up a book than maybe even the actual A Song of Ice and Fire book.
And to Tyler's
please
point,
read that.
I think it's excellent that he brings up the living vicariously, because I think sometimes that decompression can help immensely and lead to later success. But it is a balance, I would say.
It absolutely is a balance. And you need to pray. Look, if you got no problems in the world, go ahead and binge watch Game of Thrones. You don't got to listen to me. But I'm telling you, if you do have issues, you need to focus on those problems. You can't focus on distracting yourself, because that will be the death of you. Because what you're trying to do is run away from your problems, like Tyler said. If you want to escape your problems, I watch maybe 5 hours of entertainment content a week, maybe. Okay, I'm too busy working. I got more shit I got going on in my life. Okay, I go and I see my family. I spend time with my loved ones and my family and my friends.
I don't love you.
Yeah, I know you do. But that's the point I was trying to drive home, and it's only been
very
because
good points.
it's only been because I've been so sick and tired and so annoyed of watching people still talking about Game of Thrones. It's over. The show's done.
I'm with you on that one.
The show's done. It's
That's
over.
true. I'm tired of going on to Google News and seeing like, here's what Maisie Williams had to say about this one secret in the ending of Game. I'm like, I don't care.
I'm sorry. I don't. As great actors and actresses as they were, I don't care about their opinions on the show. That ultimately,
That's over.
It's over. I watched it. They could have spoken up about it. They could have done. Maybe they could have done more. Maybe they could have done less.
Right.
I don't know.
There's one question I have for you both that I don't know if I asked already. I can't remember because we really got into it this episode, which is great. Great points.
Well, it's the final
yeah,
one.
great
so.
points all around. Is this a series you will share with your children one day?
No.
Or show?
No.
I want them to see most of it because most of it's really good, and I think it's very good at storytelling and character developing and moving around and having a bunch of different plot lines and storylines between characters interact and cross with each other. So maybe I'll just maybe I'll show them 1 through 5, and then I'll introduce them to some of the problems of bad writing, and then I'll give them 6 and 7, and then I'll tell them some of the real problems with bad writing, and then I'll show them season 8.
That's what Rich is going to do with his kids. Personally, for me, if I understand the amount of dissatisfaction that I have with the ending, I'm not going to put my kids through that as well. Number one. Number two, it's the same reason I'm not going to tell my kids about Santa Claus or the Tooth Fairy, and I'm just going to give them money and presents. And I'm just going to say, hey, this is what everybody else in the world does. They're weird. All right,
they're all lying to you.
They're all lying to you.
Santa Claus.
I'm your father. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Santa Claus is not real, and don't spoil that for other sheep at your school because they're just being lied to by their parents. But at least I love you enough to tell you the truth. And also, don't watch Game of Thrones because it's a terrible show.
But Drogon's out there and he's real and he's coming to get you.
Yeah. So
he's coming for you.
To answer your question, no. If they want to watch Game of Thrones, whatever. But I mean, first of all, my children. I'm going to want them to be at least probably 16, 17 years old before they watch Game of Thrones, first of all.
Wow.
So they're not... Well, that's when we started watching it, right?
I don't know.
I mean, that's when we started watching
like
it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's bad at that age, but it's like, what? I'm going to have my 12-year-old watch Game of Thrones?
No, well, no.
No, that's what I mean. Like 16. 16 is probably a good age.
Yeah. 14, we'll see how they're doing.
Maybe.
Okay, look, here's the thing.
I could argue 14, 15.
I'll just say with kids, like, when they go to school...
They're saying way worse
stuff. That's like
stuff.
7 hours of the day. You don't get to see a kid at all. You don't know what he's hearing.
Well, that's why public school sucks.
You know what he's saying.
Well, I mean, I still don't even know if I want to homeschool or my kids are sent to a public school with the way that the public school systems are these days, and that's a whole nother topic for another day.
I'm with you. But then it's so annoying because I was thinking about it, and it's like it really is the case that at this point, the way it's set up, if you do that to your kid in some way, shape, or form, they're gonna have some level of like social ostracization. Or they're going to be...
Possibly, if you do it wrong.
No, if you do it wrong. But what I'm saying is, like, I will say this, for all the public schools, one good thing about it is you do get to learn, more or less, acceptable and unacceptable behavior with your peers.
Yeah,
you do learn some of that
social
through school.
skills.
Social skills. Because
it's the soft skills, really.
You can sit your kid down and give them the best education in the world, and you can be a very loving, reasonable, yet still firm parent. But at the end of the day... If the kid wants to get social skills, he's going to have to interact with... Or she. Yeah. Thank you. She will have to interact with their peers and other children their own age.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
You heard it here first, folks, how Game of Thrones relates to the public school system.
That's right. So, long story short, no, I will not be showing my kids Game of Thrones. If they decide they want to watch it, whatever.
What about you, Dan?
If they want to, they can make that decision, and I'll guide them appropriately along each season.
I just don't think that it was a good enough.
As you said.
I don't think it was good enough media content entertainment. Like Gurren Lagann, totally showing my kids. JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, totally showing my kids. Game of Thrones, it's just going to be one of those things where I'm going to be driving the car, the kid's going to be in the car with me, and they're going to say, "Have you ever heard of Game of Thrones?" I'm going to say, "Yeah." "Oh, well, was it good?" "Well, it was very popular back in the day."
It was very popular.
It was very popular back in the day. The first few seasons were good. I didn't like how it ended. Whatever. And then I'm just gonna leave it at that. If they want to watch it, that's whatever. I'm not gonna recommend it to them. It wasn't that good of a show. I'm sorry.
Side note, last question, got me thinking.
Okay.
So we're all gonna show our kids Star Wars. Yeah, we're all gonna show our kids Star Wars
if they want to see it.
Okay, yeah. When you show your kids Star Wars, are you gonna show it to them in the order they came out, or in the order that they occur in the universe?
The order it came out, I think.
Same.
Yeah, most definitely. For me,
I don't know.
'Cause I feel
I'll
like
let them decide.
I feel like if you show them in the order that they happen in the universe, then when you get to the Luke, I am your father scene, it's just like,
I think it's important to
I knew this.
recognize the changes that are made in technology and how you can kind of see that exponential rise in effects and.
Well, by the time our kids
Or
are
fall.
born, they said they were recreating episodes 4, 5, and 6. So those will probably be out.
I'm gonna make them watch the old ones.
yeah, same.
Yeah, those new
Because
ones are
I'm
gonna be terrible.
not happy with the
Well, we'll talk about Star Wars another time.
Appreciate what you got.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked it, hit the like button, go to our channel, and subscribe to us. Also, ring that notification bell. Our name is Psycosmos. We'll see you soon.